What's the deal, YouTube? What's the deal, YouTube? And welcome back to the channel. All right, so this is going to be my divisional round of the playoffs prediction. Coming up next week, we will have the Tennessee Titans versus the New England Patriots. We will have the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. We will have the Atlanta Falcons versus the Philadelphia Eagles. And we will have the Minnesota Vikings versus the New Orleans Saints. There's some really good matchups in this. So I'm going to dive in and start from the matchups that I think are the worst. And then we'll leave the better matchups for later. The worst matchups in this for me are the Tennessee Titans versus the New England Patriots. The Titans' weapons to me aren't up to par. I think now I don't remember, and I would have to look at the stats on this to see where New England stands as far as a run defense. Give me 1 second. Let me take a look at this before I go any further. Before I go any further, I want to take a look at the run defense here. All right, so the New England Patriots are ranked about 13th in the NFL in yards per game when it comes to run defense. And the reason why I was looking up their run defense is Derrick Henry had an outstanding game in the last game versus the Kansas City Chiefs. So I expect them to rely on him heavily. Marcus Mariota is a mobile quarterback. Mobile quarterbacks seem to give the Patriots a little bit of problems. If you look back over the history, you've seen mobile quarterbacks give the Patriots some issues, escaping getting out of the pocket. But I mean, if just looking at the Titans' weapons, their best weapons is probably Delaney Walker. They're going to take him away. You never beat the Patriots with your number one weapon. That just never happens. So they're going to take Delaney Walker away, and they'll probably load up to stop a guy like Derrick Henry from running all over him. He's probably not going to be able to do what he did last week, and that'll force Mariota to beat you with the guys on the outside, and they're very underwhelming. Rashard Matthews leads his team in receiving touchdowns with 4. Eric Decker has 54 catches and 1 touchdown. Their outside receivers don't scare anybody. I don't think they would scare the best slave ball team. So I'm going to go, of course, with the New England Patriots to knock off the Tennessee Titans and move to the conference championship. The next game that I think is the worst game out of these games will be the Atlanta Falcons at the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, if this was Carson Wentz in this game, it would be a different story. It would be a completely different story. But when you have Nick Foles out there, he's not a great quarterback. He's not a good quarterback to me. I think he slows this offense down. He doesn't have the mobility of a Carson Wentz. So I'm going to go but see, the only thing that might keep them in the game is that Philadelphia has a good defense. So while I don't think the Philadelphia offense is that great, the Philadelphia defense might be able to keep them in the game. So I don't like the Atlanta Falcons. If they get up, let's say Atlanta Falcons get up 14 points, I think this game will be a blowout. because I don't think the Philadelphia offense with Nick Foles is going to be able to do much of anything. So I'm going to go with the Atlanta Falcons to knock off the Philadelphia Eagles and move forward in the playoffs. The next game, it's kind of hard to choose which one is the better one. So I'm going to go with, next one would be Minnesota versus New Orleans. And either you could go either way, which one, because Minnesota versus New Orleans. New Orleans has a truck ton of weapons. Make no mistake about it. They've got a lot of weapons, but the Minnesota defense is very, very good. You've got a lockdown cornerback on one side. You have a very good cornerback on the other side, and that's going to make it tough. You're not going to throw at Rhodes too much. So you're probably going to try to pick on Trey Waynes more than anything. But Trey Waynes is a good cornerback as well. So this is going to be a tough one. The only thing that I can think about is this. The quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings has never been here before. He's never had success in the playoffs before. So that might be the issue when it comes from Minnesota, is that they don't have a quarterback that has been here before, whereas Drew Brees has been to the promised land and won at a very, very high level. So to me, that's what I have to go with. I've got to go with the fact that one team has a quarterback that has been here before, and the other team has a quarterback that has just had a really good year. Case Keenum has had a good year, but I think his good year is going to end right here with New Orleans, as I'm going to take the New Orleans Saints to knock off the Minnesota Vikings and move forward to the NFC Championship game. Now, the game that I think will be the best game, the game that I think will be just will be a war, is the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, the last time the Jacksonville Jaguars played the Pittsburgh Steelers, they picked Big Ben Roethlisberger off 5 times. I do not think that happens in this game. I think this is a very good strength-on-strength game. Antonio Brown going against either A.J. Boye or Jalen Ramsey. But the thing is that the Pittsburgh Steelers have a lot of weapons. They've got Bell coming out of the backfield. They got Juju catching passes out there. They have I forget the big fucking receiver that has a problem with the weed issues. I forget his damn name, but he's out there as well. So they've got a lot of weapons, and then they have the tight end Jesse James as well out there for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't necessarily like I don't like their quarterback. I think they can run the ball. I think they've got some decent weapons at wide receiver. But I think their defense is going to keep them in this game. Their defense is going to keep this game relatively close. I don't see them getting smoked with the secondary that they have. I picked the Pittsburgh Steelers to be my Super Bowl representative when I found out that the Dolphins season was good. Well, actually, I was picking the Pittsburgh Steelers even before that, because I think the Pittsburgh Steelers offense is pure juggernaut, is a juggernaut offense. So, what am I going with? This is a hard one, man. Do I go with the Jaguar defense, or do I go with the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, strength on strength? Big Ben Roethlisberger has been here before. I leaned on experience when it came with Drew Brees, and I'm going to lean on experience again when it comes with Big Ben Roethlisberger. I got to go with Big Ben going in there and putting up more points than Blake Bortles. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Let's see. AB won't be 100%. Yeah. Jaguars defense is amazing, but they'll need 21 to 24 points. Yeah, I picked the Jags this year. Steelers versus Falcons Super Bowl. I don't know. We'll see next week. But yeah, I'm going with the Pittsburgh Steelers to knock off the Jacksonville Jaguars. I wish we can take Big Ben Roethlisberger off of the Steelers and put him on the Jacksonville Jaguars, because that would make the AFC Championship that much better. You would have Big Ben, who could actually put points on the board, and backed up by a phenomenal defense with Jalen Ramsey, A.J. Bowie Jackson, fucking Calais Campbell, Miles Jack. I could go on and on with that fucking. I can go on and on with that damn defense, but I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh is gonna be my AFC representative in the Super Bowl. I think they have too many weapons, especially if Antonio Brown is able. If Antonio Brown is able to play 80%, you put Antonio Brown out there with Juju, with Martavius Bryant, with Jesse James, with Bell. That's a lot of weapons to try to control. And I don't think any team in the NFL is going to control that team in the playoffs. I don't. I think they're gonna. I think they beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, and then they go and beat the New England Patriots as well. I know that's tough. That's tough because they got to do that shit in Foxborough. And you know them fucking refs be cheating their ass off for them bastards in Foxborough. But I'm going to take the Steelers to go to the Super Bowl. I haven't figured out who I'm going to go with in the NFC. It might be the Saints. It might be the Saints. The only reason why I would take the Saints over the Falcons is because I think the Saints have a little bit. It's close because you got Jones, you got Sanu, and then you got their running back. But the Saints have Kamara. They got the kid from Alabama, the running back. They got those wide receivers. They got a ton of them. They got Ted Ginn. They got that guy. They have a shit ton of people. And Drew Brees has won where Matt Ryan didn't. Matt Ryan choked, and Drew Brees actually went and won a Super Bowl. So I think I'm going to go with the Saints and the Steelers as my Super Bowl. I think that's my Super Bowl. Saints versus Steelers in the Super Bowl. But we shall see, of course, next week after the divisional rounds, we'll make that official prediction. But I'm going with the Saints versus the Steelers in the Super Bowl, and that's a good one. That's a fucking good one. But I think the Steelers still beat the Saints because the Steelers just have so many fucking weapons. You stop Antonio Brown, okay, here comes Juju. And there goes Martavius. And there goes Bell. There goes James. They have a shit ton. Their defense isn't great. I really wish that their defense was better. But it's not. And it never seems to be. To me, their secondary can never be great. They can never lock in on a great secondary. I don't know why. Even when they were winning Super Bowls, to me, they never had a great defense. I mean, a great secondary. Like Palomalu was never a great coverage guy to me. He was a guy that sniffed around the box and came with some exotic blitzes and shit like that. But he was never great in coverage. And that's the reason why they always got their asses whooped when they played the Patriots. Because when you play the Patriots, you need to be able to play physical at the line of scrimmage and lock those receivers down. If you blitz Brady too much, he'll notice where it's coming from, and he'll get the ball out of his hands fast enough and get it to an open receiver. You know what I mean? So that's the reason why they never were able to beat the Patriots, because they never had a great secondary, and they don't now. Now, yeah, Joe Hayden, I thought he would at least be decent. He's been hurt through the season. But I think the Steelers have enough to win the Super Bowl this year. I think they will win a shootout versus any team in the NFL in the playoffs. It took some bullshit for the Patriots to beat them the last time, where the man caught the ball, came down, knee down, dove in the end zone, and they called it an incomplete pass. Total bullshit. Total bullshit. Yeah, the Saints should have lost to the Carolina Panthers today. Cam Newton put a ball right in the wide receiver's hands and he dropped it. They made 2 and 3 trips in the first half of that game, only to come away with 6 points. See, this is why I tell people that yards do not matter. Cam Newton had like 200 yards in the first half and 6 points. 6 fucking points. He drove the ball all the way to the red zone 3 times. The field goal kicker missed the kick, and they got 2 field goals. They did 200 yards worth of work for 6 points, and the Saints went down and scored what, 2-3 touchdowns. At one point, Drew Brees was leading Cam Newton by about 60 yards in that game. Fucking Drew Brees had Cam Newton like 273 to like 217, but the score was 21-6. Yards do not matter if you're not finishing drives. It's the finish that matters the most. If you're not scoring points, those yards don't mean a fucking thing. Anyway, folks, I'll be back next week. Once again, my playoffs pick, my predictions are the Patriots over the Titans. I'm taking the Steelers over the Jaguars. I'm taking the Falcons to beat the Eagles. And I am going to take the Saints to beat the Minnesota Vikings. And we will be back next week to see how right I was. This wild card shit, boy, I was wrong all over the fucking place. My predictions were ass. I won 1 wild card game. Every other wild card game I fucking lost, man. I had the Bills to beat Jacksonville because I thought Blake Bortles was trash. Actually, I got to go back and listen to my predictions. I don't even remember what they were. Anyway, man, I will talk to you guys next time. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is @Casuwell, @KASUWELL. Join my Facebook group. I'm going to put that link in the description. By next year, man, I want to try to get that Facebook group up to like 1,000 members. I'm gonna have my own Facebook group where we can actually have true conversations about sports with true sports fans. Just, talking football, breaking down film, and watching the Dolphin Fan Voices podcast. Anyway, man, I'll talk to you guys next time. I'm out. Peace. Hard-hitting sports in your face.